In today's video, we are going to be talking about discovery calls. So discovery calls are where you meet with a potential client and discuss their needs and talk about what it is that you can offer them and things like that. It's a chance for you to learn about the person's pain points, their needs and their desires to see if you are going to be a good fit. It's definitely not a one-way conversation and just seeing if you are a good fit for them. You also need to make sure that they are a good fit for you too. What I found from speaking to a lot of virtual assistants is that it can kind of feel like they are being interviewed and that the client who has booked the discovery call is really taking control of the conversation. And what I want to say to you is, no, that's not how it should be. We need to flip that completely. You need to be fully in control of this conversation so you can steer the conversation the way you want it to go and find out all of the relevant information that you need and give the relevant information to the prospective client. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Kim and I help virtual assistants stop being the support act and start to become the specialist partner for their clients. So let's jump straight into the video. The first thing I want you to know before we start everything is that this is not a sales call. It is not you pitching yourself, telling the client what it is that you can do and really like selling yourself to this client. That is not the vibe that we want at all. And if your clients are therapists in private practice, this is not going to come across well either. So I'm going to tell you exactly what it is that you need to do in order to really win over the client's trust and confidence in working with you. The second thing that I really want you to understand is you need to talk less and listen more. What you should be doing is asking questions, yes, but making sure that you are listening to the answers and doing twice as much listening as you are doing talking. I do have a really cool resource for you as well, which I will link here, and I will also link it at the end of the video as well, which you can download completely for free, which is going to go into much more depth about how you should run a discovery call. But this is going to give you kind of like the top level of what it is that you need to do to create a great discovery call environment. Okay, so I'm going to give you some tips for before, during and after the discovery call. So for before the call, what I would suggest is making sure that you set up an appointment scheduler, which you can link to on your website, in your social media bio and things like that. You don't want to have a therapist or different kind of client reach out to you, ask to book time with you or see if they can find a way of working with you. And then you're going back and forth doing this email ping pong of, yeah, sure, let's book a time. Here's my availability. What's your availability? What you want someone to do is land on your page, on your website, and just be able to know 100%, oh, I can just book a discovery call with this person. Click on a link, pick a date and a time that works for them, and then it's all done, right? So you don't even need to have a conversation with this person in advance of the discovery call. So that is going to make it really simple for you. And there are so many ways that you can do this for free. So if you're using Google Workspace, which I would highly recommend for your business, you can use the scheduling feature on the calendar for Google Workspace. You can set up Calendly for free, where you can have like one free appointment scheduler on there, so you could just use that for your discovery call. Or you could buy something like TidyCal, which I still think they have like on AppSumo, like a lifetime offer for like $27, something ridiculous like that. And then you can have multiple appointments, you can have paid appointments and things like that. That's the one I use. So there's many, many ways you can do this for free or very, very cheap. So I would 100% recommend you having that very clearly on your website, in all your bios and links on your website and all that kind of stuff. The second thing is I would recommend doing a discovery call for around 30 minutes. A lot of people I know do 15-minute ones, but I do not think this is enough time to understand your potential client effectively, be able to get across what it is that you can do effectively without it feeling rushed and like a sales call. And I just think that 30 minutes is just the ideal time for it not to feel rushed, but also for it not to feel like you're giving away information for free. Sometimes it can turn into a bit of like a coaching session, and we don't want that either. Finally, before the call, what I would also suggest is asking questions up front in a form. So on TidyCal, for example, you can have questions that the client must fill in before they book the call. So I would ask things like what it is you're looking for, how you found me, get their website details so that you can if you have time, look up their website and view a few things about them in advance, because it always helps as well if you can give them a bit of advice in the course. So maybe you could point something out to them that you found out on their website, something that's good, something that might need improvement, things like that. That can always come across really well. And ask them to tell you in their own words why it is they're reaching out to you as well. I do have a few more questions that I suggest, and in the free resource that I have linked, I do go through a list of all the questions that you could or should use on your form so that you can gather as much information in advance and go into the discovery call feeling really confident. One thing I want you to remember is any virtual assistant, and there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions at this point, can do administrative tasks. Anyone can go in and just take over the work that the client is doing. But to be successful, you need to have a unique solution and go in as a strategic partner, not just admin support. And this will help you differentiate from the rest of the virtual assistant market. Okay, so when you get them on the call, the first thing I would do is just a little bit of small talk, just to make them feel comfortable. But then after that, I would ask them to kind of repeat in their own words why it is they're reaching out to you for help. So you want to hear it from them as well as reading it, because people talk and write very differently. So you really want to hear from them where their pain points are, why it is that they have got to the point where they feel like they need a virtual assistant's help. Understanding their needs and their desires can really help you build that rapport with the client so that they feel understood. And then when it comes to you telling them about your services, it can really feel like these services are tailored to them. And that is what we want. We want them to feel understood, heard, and know that what it is that you have to offer is exactly what they need. So for therapists in private practice, I really recommend that you aim to understand the size of their practice, the type of clients that they work with, whether that's just adults, individuals, or couples, families, children, and what kind of work they do. So is it just standard talk therapy? Do they offer additional services like EMDR or intensives? You really want to understand all of the complexities of their private practice. You want to understand what system they currently use and how they currently communicate with their clients, how they book appointments, how they do their invoicing, and whether they do anything like working with medical insurance companies and things like that. You also want to understand what they do and don't enjoy about working in a private practice. Do they purely just like doing the therapy and they want a completely hands-off approach with everything else? Or do they like kind of having control of certain things but just want to outsource certain areas of their practice? When I first started working with therapists in private practice, really they just wanted to outsource all the financial side, so doing their invoicing, chasing overdue payments, medical insurance and bookkeeping. That's what I started doing. And sometimes it can be easier for a therapist to kind of hand over that little part of their practice rather than the whole thing. And gradually, you know, you get into their practice and then you end up taking over basically everything. But especially for therapists in private practice, they really need to build that trust with you first. So if when you're asking them to describe their problems and things like that, if they don't answer those questions, ask those questions specifically so that you can get a full understanding of what it is that they do and what it is that they need from you. Again, in the resource, I've got a list of all of the questions that I think that you should ask to fully understand what this therapist needs. So again, I will link it. Please download it. It's completely free. It's really going to help you in your discovery call game. Okay, so then what you want to do, once you've done all the listening and you've found out all of the information, you want to show your expertise. You want to talk to them about other clients you've worked with. Obviously you're not going to divulge, but you might want to say, oh, this client is similar to you and this is what I do for them. Or you want to say, okay, what I would really recommend for you specifically is this particular system. It's really going to help you out in this way and that way and all that kind of stuff. You want to show your expertise so that they know that they can trust you and that you know what you're talking about. Make sure when you are showing these expertise that it is specific to them. If you've got a therapist in front of you, a potential client in front of you, and they're saying, well, I've got 5 clients at the moment, I'm hoping to grow, but right now, you know, that's where I am and I just want to outsource the admin side because I'm just not very good at it or I don't like it. You don't want to then say to them, hey, I think you should sign up to Xander or another EHR platform, because they possibly don't need that at this time in their business. So you really want to make sure that you're tailoring your advice and information to the specific problem that the therapist has. If they've talked about specific problems they may have in their practice, so let's say they are getting a lot of late cancellations and things like that, there might be some advice that you can give them in terms of how they can reduce that, just based on your own knowledge. So you might say, do you have a cancellation policy? Is it in your paperwork? Do you send this out with your appointment reminders? Do you send appointment reminders? So there might be some questions and some advice that you can give them around a specific problem that they've told you about, which again is just going to build trust, and it's going to make them think, oh, this person knows what they're talking about. And that is what you want them to take away from the conversation. This person gets me. This person understands my problems. This person can help me move my business forward. And finally, you want to make them an offer on the call. So you want to say to them, hey, I think I can really help you. This is the service that I think that you would need. And then you can tell them about the service. Make sure you tell them the rate as well. Do not avoid talking about money. It is really important that the potential client understands the financial cost of working with you. So you don't want to shy away from this. If needs be, practice saying this to somebody in your life, whether it's a friend or a family member. Just practice saying your fee confidently. You just want to say it, and don't say anything like, but we can discuss this, blah, blah, blah. Don't do that. Just say, hey, I can work with you. I actually have a retainer for all my clients. So the minimum hours that I can work for you is 10 hours a month, and it's going to cost you £350 for that service. Say it confidently. Don't say anything after that. Do not say anything after that. Okay. And then just say to them, hey, I would really love to send you a proposal. Is it okay if I follow up with you and send you details about how we can work together? And then just see what they say. 9 times out of 10, the person is going to say, yeah, sure. Unless there's some massive issue that has been found on the discovery call in terms of like an incompatibility to work together. Maybe your time zones don't work out, or you don't have certain expertise in a certain area that they work in. So, other than that, most of the time they're going to say yes. And then finally, once the call has ended, you want to do what you say, right? So you want to follow up with them. I would suggest following up with them the same day. If you are mega busy and that's not possible, or maybe the discovery call was booked late, make sure you send it the next day. Within 24 hours, you want to send the proposal. Number 1 is so they don't forget you. And number 2, you are working in admin. You are a virtual assistant, and they want to know that when you say you're going to do something, you do it promptly, and you do it to a good standard. So create email templates, create proposal templates. Have these things set up so it's really easy for you to just follow up after the call. Thank them for their time, repeat some of the issues that they told you about, confirm how you can help them, send the proposal. Make sure that you outline your availability and when you would need a decision by, because you don't want to be waiting for weeks and weeks and weeks for someone to get back to you, because we only have a limited capacity of how many people we can work with. So you don't want to be waiting around because you really think like this person is going to work with me. Somebody else puts a discovery call and you're like, oh, I'm not sure because I'm waiting for this person to respond. You want to give them a deadline of when you need to hear by. If you don't hear by that date, I would follow up. I would just say, hey, like the date's come, just so you know, it's really lovely to meet you. I can't hold the space for you anymore, but if if the situation changes or you'd like to get back in touch with me, of course, if I have availability, I'm happy to work with you, kind of thing. Okay, so that is a really brief overview of how to complete a successful discovery call, the do's and don'ts of running a discovery call. If you want more in-depth information on how to run a very smooth discovery call, please download the resource. Like I said throughout this video, it's free. And it gives you email templates, it gives you questions and all that kind of stuff, links to like Google Workspace and TidyCal, all that kind of stuff that I've mentioned in the video. So go ahead and download that. And until next time, thanks so much for watching.